Why do we need to help others?
If any of you are around when I have to meet my day, I don't want a long funeral. And if you get somebody to deliver the eulogy, tell them not to talk too long. Tell them not to mention that I have a Nobel Peace Prize. That isn't important. I'd like somebody to mention that day that Martin Luther King Jr. tried to give his life serving others. I'd like for somebody to say that day that Martin Luther King Jr. tried to love somebody. I want you to be able to say that day that I did try to feed the hungry. I want you to be able to say that day that I did try in my life to clothe those who were naked. I want you to say on that day that I did try in my life to visit those who were in prison. I want you to say that I tried to love and serve humanity. Yes, if you want to say that I was a drum major, say that I was a drum major for justice. Say that I was a drum major for peace. I was a drum major for righteousness. And all of the other shallow things will not matter. Then my living will not be in vain.
My name is Joshua Robert Boyd, and I took part in a real-world learning experience with Matthew 25 Ministries in Warren County. The purpose of this organization is to quite simply distribute meals to those in need. My role for the organization was to do a brief internship where I was learning and understanding under the leadership of that organization. My personal connection to this kind of ministry or this kind of community project that is in the business of helping others and helping the community directly, my personal connection to this is because I've personally experienced homelessness due to my battle with alcoholism in the past. Thankfully, thanks to God, I'm 4 years sober. I have not had a drink since September of 2020. So during my time struggling with alcohol, there were times where I didn't have a place to go, and I didn't feel as it actually felt as if the whole world had abandoned me and that there was no one I could turn to. So I know how it is to be in that position. So my heart goes out to people that are in that position. But at the same time, I know that there is hope. And I've got to experience hope because I cried out to God, and it was through Jesus that I was able to overcome that addiction. So I am very passionate about this issue, and especially during this time with the organization and meeting people that were going to the meal distribution nights. They feel that there is no hope. They feel as society has overlooked them, that society has given up on them, that they are treated as less than human. And if we think of the term homeless, we look at a news article, look at a news report, it describes the person as a homeless person. And people say, look, what are all these homeless people doing? And we use that word homeless to dehumanize them. And this isn't a political angle. This isn't a political angle trying to be politically correct, saying we don't use this and that word. I think we need to look internally and think, do we see people that are on the streets? Do we see them as equals? Or do we see them as humans that are going through an experience where they need help? That it's not just that every single case the individual is being lazy. Perhaps there's something deeper going on. Perhaps they're going through mental health crisis, and maybe they're going through an addiction with alcohol or drugs that we've never experienced. So my story with this organization is that every Tuesday night there would be a meal distribution. the leader of the organization collaborated with churches, and the churches would prepare meals, and every Tuesday night there was a cafeteria sort of catering style line that they would set up, and people from the community were invited to go, especially if you really needed a meal. You could go there and get some nourishment. And some of the tasks that were involved were to really just set everything up, get the tables and chairs, mundane tasks like that. But not only that, something I learned that what the leader was doing, he wasn't just saying, okay, here you go, here's food for everybody. He was personally invested in the relationships with each person there. And he knew them as friends. And he would even say he missed them. He missed so-and-so. Hey, where have you been? And everybody, the vibe was everybody was getting along. It was a community. It was a community. And that's something that's lost in our country, and especially in America, where we can learn from other cultures and other countries to where they have community. They're there for each other. They know each other by name. They are personally invested in what's going on in their lives. They're saying simple things like, hey, how have you been? I haven't seen you in a while. How are you doing? Is everything okay? Is there anything I can do for you? When's the last time you hear that? So that was the setting and the vibe during the internship, and I learned a lot. I learned a lot about myself. Where am I being compassionate enough? Am I just doing this? Am I doing this, going to this charity just to check something off the list, or am I asking questions? Am I more interested in other people than I am in myself? So the assessment for this is that 3 reasons why people should do a project like this is, number 1 is that it's going to challenge you to start and maintain relationships in your life and get to know people, and to find out what the reason you're doing what you're doing is. So that relationship is the number 1 reason, learning how to develop and start relationships. The second reason that you should do this project is that you're going to learn a lot about yourself and some of the things that are going on inwardly in you. You're going to start realizing that maybe the reason that you started doing something might have a deeper root in there. And then you're going to start, for me anyways, I started thinking about what were the personal reasons that I want to help. Am I doing this for the right reasons? And the third reason why people should do this project is because it's going to give you a real world experience. We can study, we can learn and write and watch videos and do all the tests we want, but till we get into a real world setting, we're not going to know how it actually is. And so I would say I've learned a lot about community issues, the community, and leading community engagement. The community issues that stood out to me the most was that there were times where people would just kind of talk about things, and we would just open up the floor to let everybody talk about what's going on in their heart, what kind of problems they're facing. And something that I realized is that people were doing the right things. They were trying to, or they were staying sober, working and getting jobs and signing up to get on the housing list, and the numbers were so far off in this case, where the housing list there's an astronomical number on the housing list, and there's just not enough housing available. And it's really something that needs to change, where we're in a first world country. We're supposedly the greatest country on earth, yet we have a homelessness epidemic. I got to learn a lot about the community, that people that are struggling in poverty, struggling with homelessness, struggling with addiction, that they are people too, and that they are treated terribly by society. And I needed to do a better job myself at getting to know people and not thinking that I'm better than them. And as far as leading community engagement goes, I learned that you can have all of the experience and education in the world, but if you don't have compassion and empathy and truly care about other people more than yourself, the epitome of altruism, to care about others more than yourself, then you're not going to be able to lead communities well. And lastly, the meaning behind this project and the impact it had on me is it caused me to search deep within myself to make sure that my heart was right, to make sure that every fiber of my being cares about the issues that are going on in this society, and that we are nowhere close to where we need to be until both sides of the political spectrum unite under caring about others and caring about the vulnerable people in this society, in this world, that we will never get anywhere. We are one nation under God, and we must unite to make the world a better place. And that's not just something we say, this is something that we do. It is through our actions and through our heart being right.